Hey guys, this is Harry from ZeroFX, and in this video, we will see how we can recreate the Doctor Strange shield effect completely inside After Effects without using any paid plugins and also without using any stock footages. So everything will be built from scratch, and the goal here is to make the shield as close to the movie as possible, unlike this. So let's do this. Create a new composition, 1920 by 1920 and 24 frames per second. Now let's import the shield image from your project files. This one. Drag it into the composition. There you go, that's the shield reference image. Now let's create a new solid. And the idea here is to create this entire shield shape using mask shapes. So click and hold the masks and select the ellipse tool. Double click it to create a circular mask. If you can't see the mask, just toggle this mask visibility option, and after that double click the mask, hold Ctrl Shift and drag it to actually scale it from the center. And line it with the inner circle like this. Alright. Now select the pen tool and draw a mask by following the reference image. Okay, do the same thing for another one, but make sure you start at a different point for each single mask. This gives some nice variation when we apply the Saber effect. I will show you that when we use the Saber effect, but for now, just remember that you need to start the mask at a different point for all these identical shapes. Okay. Once you're done with the inner shape, just shift select all these masks, hit Ctrl D to duplicate, position them above, double click them to select all those masks and hold Ctrl Shift and left click drag to scale them up and align them with the next shape of the shield. And also give some rotation for some variation. Again, all these are being done keeping the Saber effect in mind. Okay, we now completed the inner ring shape. Let's name the solid inner ring. Okay. There you go, that's how it looks, only with the masks. Nice. Now let's concentrate on the next part of the shield. Select a rectangular mask shape. Okay, but before that, create a new solid. And now, double click the mask. Hold Ctrl Shift and drag the shape to match the reference and also rotate it so that you align it with the reference image. And also do the necessary adjustments like this. Okay. Ctrl D to duplicate the mask, double click it and rotate it. I'm holding shift at this point to actually snap it to 45 degrees. Now let's change the mask to elliptical mask. You can just click and hold on the mask shape to do that. Double click it and just like before, align it with the circular shape here. After that, select the pen tool and draw a mask to cover this part of the shield. Alright, do the necessary adjustments if you feel like it. Something like this. Now draw this other shape. Okay, the mask is continuing. In order to create a new mask, you can select the black solid and then click on the composition. This will automatically create a new mask shape. Alright. Now do the same thing for the opposite side. Click the pen tool, draw a mask. Alright. And then, to fix it just like before, click the black solid. Click with the pen tool again to create a new mask. There you go. So once these mask shapes are done, select all those masks by holding Ctrl 4, 5, 6, 7. Hit Ctrl D to duplicate them. Position them above just like before for convenience. And then double click all these mask shapes and rotate them by holding the shift to snap them into position. Now select masks 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, let's move them to the top. Okay, now let's select all these mask shapes. Hit Ctrl D to duplicate them. Again, position them above for convenience. Select all the masks and holding shift, just rotate them to snap them 45 degrees. There you go. And that finishes the middle shape. We can call it middle ring. Okay. Now create a new solid and let's finish the remaining shape. Double click the circular mask and scale it down to match the circle right here. There you go, like that. If you can't see the mask properly, you can actually change its color by double clicking this and changing it to something more vibrant. There you go. Now hit Ctrl D to duplicate the mask. Ctrl Shift drag to scale it up and line it with this circle. Alright. Hit Ctrl D again and line it up with the outer circle. Alright. And let's name this outer ring underscore 1. Now create a new solid and create the final circle shape. So double click the mask, scale it down to match the outer circle. There you go. And let's name this outer ring underscore 2. So alright, so this finishes the mask shapes. There you go, we have an inner ring, a middle ring, outer ring 1 and outer ring 2. So all these shapes are actually being split based on the reference from the movies. In the movies, the shields were actually split like this into different sections and they move individually. So we're actually replicating that here. Now for the circle text shapes over here, using the mask would be an overkill and also not that convenient. So let's first create the circular text shape and then we will see what we can do. So let's create a new text layer new text and type something. There you go, we have some text within the scene. Now let me just quickly show you how to bend the text into a circle shape. In order to do that, double click the mask tool to actually create a circular mask. And also let's align this mask with this large text right here at the base of this large text, yeah, something like this. Now under the text options, we can see that there are path options. Open them and we can actually select the path to mask 1 and there you go, that bends the text into a circle shape. We can change the font size and everything, but the text will stay aligned with the mask. Okay, but we need some Chinese text. That's actually very easy to do. Just go to Google Translate and translate anything, like whatever that comes into your mind. Yeah, something like that. And once the translation is done, select the Chinese letters, hit Ctrl C to copy, head into the After Effects and hit Ctrl V to paste it. There you go. Now let's change the font to a Chinese font. I'm using this Simpson font I downloaded from internet. There you go. Okay, let me remove this comma right here. There you go, backspace. Okay, we can also increase the text spacing right here. Something like that. And to fill the remaining area, we can simply hit Ctrl C and Ctrl V to duplicate the text again. Unless you're Chinese, it's hard to notice it, so not a problem. Now let's pre-compose this by hitting Ctrl Shift C to large text. Okay, alright. Now let's create this inner text. Head into the large text comp, hit Ctrl C to copy the text file and paste it in the main comp, Ctrl V. Let's scale down the mask so that it lines up with this inner text right here. Something like this. Okay, the font size is too big. Double click to select the text and decrease the font size so that it matches with the reference image. Okay, that looks good. Now to fill the remaining area just like before, select everything, hit Ctrl C and Ctrl V to duplicate. Now we can see some overlapping. To fix that, we can actually select the area and hit backspace to remove the text. So do this until you see no overlapping. There you go. So once you're done, hit Ctrl Shift C to pre-compose and name this inner text. Okay, let's copy paste the text one more time. And now finally create this outer text. So let's scale this circular mask to align with the outer text. Okay, this time align it with inside. I just want to show you something else. So inside the text options, open the text, path options, and there is an option called reverse path. There you go. So this way the text will be aligned outside the circular mask rather than inside like before. So hit Ctrl C and Ctrl V to paste the remaining area. Hit backspace to remove any overlapping text. Alright. And that finishes the entire shield shape. Whew. So we have some mask shapes and some text shapes. So finally, pre-compose this, Ctrl-Shift-C and name this outer text. Now it's time to add some Saber effects. So select the inner ring shape, go to Effects and Presets, and apply a Saber effect. This is a free plugin from videocopilot.net. It's an extremely useful plugin, especially made for lightsabers, but you can use it for almost a lot of things. And the preset, change the preset to Arc Reactor. This worked best for me. And under Customize Core options, change the core type to Layer Masks. So this uses the mask shapes we just created as the emitters for the Saber effect. So that's looking pretty cool. So change the blue color to an orange color. And also decrease the saturation a bit, maybe 50%. Alright, that looks okay. Decrease the core size, maybe 0.2. Okay, that's looking okay. And now go to the distortion settings and under glow distortion, make the distortion 0. Alright. Now go to the core distortion. And this is the one responsible for all this funkiness or whatever you want to call it. So decrease the distortion amount to maybe like 10. Okay, we need it, but in a very subtle manner. So let me just show you real quick what's happening here. There you go. Okay, the noise speed seems to be too much. So decrease the noise speed, maybe 0.2. So we want this to be like very subtle. Alright, that's looking good. The reason why I'm doing all this is to give some life to the shield. Like instead of using a static image of a shield, I just want to make the shield dynamic. Also, let's increase the noise scale to maybe 200 to spread out the distortions. Okay, alright. So you can see some nice distortions right here, right here. Very subtle effect. Finally, increase the core softness to something like 1.2. Okay, maybe increase it even more, 2. Now increase the glow bias to increase the glow width. And also increase the glow spread to spread out this intensity. There you go. Now duplicate the Saber effect and to the bottom copy, increase the core size to 1 and decrease the glow bias to 0.2 and also decrease the glow spread. So we're kind of reverting back to the original values. So I want this effect to be very sharp this time. Now go to the start size and decrease it all the way down to 0%. Okay. Also decrease the end offset to something like this, maybe 50%. This reduces the Saber effect to 50% of the shape. And also decrease the core softness to 0. Like I said, I want this to be very sharp. Also maybe decrease the core size to a lower value, maybe 0.7. Okay, now if we alt click the mask evolution and write a simple expression like time times 10 and check this out. This will animate the masks over time. Like, there you go. So this gives some extra life to the shield. So I just don't want to use a static image, that's it. And also mask evolution is the reason why I asked you to draw these mask shapes starting at a different origin points. Because mask evolution takes origin point into consideration and actually creates the mask shape based on that. So if you see this right here, for this mask shape, the origin point is here. For this shape, the origin point is here. This, it's over here. So because you created the mask shapes like this gives some nice variation. Otherwise, it will look something like this. So yeah, keep that in mind while creating the mask shapes. Now if you go to the render settings and under composite settings, if you change this to add, there you go. This adds the Saber 2 effect onto the Saber 1 effect. And also maybe decrease the previous Saber's intensity to maybe 25%. There you go, that's looking good. Let's preview this. There you go. That's looking pretty good. Maybe decrease the core size to even less, 0.5. Alright. And also decrease the end offset to maybe 25%. Okay, I want this to cover very tiny area. Now hit Ctrl D to duplicate this Saber effect and to this final copy. Increase the start offset to maybe something like this, 75%. And also increase the end offset to 100%. Now if you check this out, there you go, we have two animated Saber layers working at different positions at the same time. And like I said before, this gives some extra life to the shield effect. That's looking pretty good. Okay, now we can simply copy these Saber effects, shift select and hit Ctrl C. Select the next mask shape and hit Ctrl V to paste it. There you go. Now let's copy this one more time. Select the outer ring one and hit Ctrl V to paste it. And do the same thing for the last layer. So let's change the blending mode of all these layers to screen. And check this out. Okay, we have a very repetitive pattern right here. Don't worry, we will fix it. So let's select this outer ring one and under Saber 3 effect, let's hide the mask for a second. Go to the start offset and maybe adjust its position to something like this, 54%. Decrease the end offset so that the two Saber effects are opposite or at a very good distance from each other. Also, let's select this inner mask shape and rotate it to give some nice variation to the Saber effects. Also rotate this outer mask. There you go. So do the same thing for this outer layer. Select the Saber 3 effect. Decrease the end offset to something like this and also decrease the start offset. Yeah, something like that. Maybe something like this. Okay. Okay, that's looking good. Now for this outer layer, let's increase the distortion. So select this outer layer or black solid 4. Go to the core distortion settings and increase the distortion amount to 25. There you go. This gives some nice distortion. So increase the same thing for the Saber 2 and Saber 3 effects. There you go. Now also Saber 3. Core distortion amount to 25. There you go. I'm just showing you all the possibilities with these Saber effects. So you have control over a lot of things when you use the Saber effect to create the Doctor Strange shield. And you can tweak all the settings to customize it to your personal liking. So that's pretty cool. And if you want to, you can increase the distortion for the entire shield. So like I said, all personal preference. Okay, now what about these text layers? Well, we can fake things using fractal noise. Let's do just that. Select the large text and add a fractal noise effect to it. Fractal noise, right? Okay, increase the contrast to 300. Nice. And change the blending mode to none. This actually makes the black parts of the image look really good. Now apply a solid composite effect and change the color to black. This gets rid of the alpha channel. Alright. Now let's apply a glow effect and decrease the threshold all the way down to 0. Increase the radius to maybe 100 and decrease the intensity, maybe 0.1. Now let's apply a VC color vibrance effect to it. This is also a free plugin from videocopilot.net. It's very good when it comes to applying colors to glow effects. So give it an orange color, 35, and also decrease the saturation. Okay, that's looking alright. Change the transform mode to screen and okay, the text is too flat. Let's add a turbulent displace effect to it. Apply it all the way above. Decrease the size to a very less value, maybe 10. There you go. And increase the complexity to 3. Maybe too much, 2. Okay. So again, this is to add some randomness. Also, there are certain artifacts right here. We can fix it by changing the overflow to clip. See, that's fixed. Let me just show you what this thing is doing. So when it's set to allow HDR results, Let's concentrate on this portion, like info panel right here. We can see that we are getting some negative values, and this is the reason why we are getting all these artifacts. And when we set this to clip, this will clip all the black values to 0 and also all the white values to 1, and this will fix any artifacts that you're facing in the composition. Always keep this thing in mind. This is not true just for this one time scenario. You will face this issue a lot of times in your various composites. So always look for your brightest value and your darkest value and make sure it's clipped to 1 and 0. This is very important. Also, it's looking too bright, so under VC color vibrance effect, decrease the brightness to something like this so that it matches the surrounding shield image. There you go. Yeah, that's looking good. And now, under fractal noise, I'll click the evolution and write time times 100. So, just like before, this will make the text look dynamic. Okay, now let's copy all these effects, hit Ctrl C, and select the inner text and paste it. Ctrl V. And set the transform to screen. Do the same thing and paste them in the outer text and set the transform to screen. And there you go, that finishes the shield effect. It's looking pretty good. So I feel like all this extra work is really worth it. And also I just want to quickly show you something really cool. So using Saber effects to create the shield has a very good advantage, especially when it comes to animating the shield. So let me isolate the Saber 2 layer, and we can actually animate the end offset from 0 to 100. Okay, 1 second, let me increase the start size to 100. Okay, so we can actually animate the shield like what you see in the movies, like where the ancient one shows Doctor Strange. So this thing, I don't know what it's called, but you can do all those effects if you set up the scene this way. And that's pretty cool.